I'm Lauren Cavasinni, and here's your Sports in 60. The NCAA tournament moves to the Sweet 16, but upset after upset made it not so sweet for many teams. The number 2 Florida Gators softball team secured their first SEC sweep of the season in their SEC opening weekend against the number 23 Kentucky Wildcats. Starting off with some historic Olympic news, U.S. figure skater Mirai Nagasu is now the first American woman to land a triple axel in the free skate competition. And I'll have more about the Gators' first home softball game of the season. Don't go anywhere. Sports is coming up next. Over on the hardwood, Gator men's basketball snapped a 3-game losing streak on Saturday. The Gators topped the Auburn Tigers 72-66. Junior Kayvon Allen went 6 for 10 from the arc, including a miracle 70-footer at the halftime buzzer.
The Gators host the University of North Florida, and WFT's sports reporter Lauren Cavasinni is live at KDC Scholl-Presley Stadium. Lauren, what did Coach Walton have to say when you spoke with him yesterday?
When I spoke to head coach Tim Walton yesterday, he told me that he has been pleasantly surprised with the returners of this team, as they really have stepped up as leaders so far this year.
They really do a good job of having fun, but understanding that they're serious and they're competitive and they want to win. But really, I think that when I define leadership, I think that leadership is something that people get other people around them better.
The Gators come into tonight's game after a big weekend at the USF Wilson D. Marini's tournament, down in Tampa. They are now 5-0. The Gators are hosting the University of North Florida. This is the 8th time these two teams have met, and the Gators currently lead the series 7-0. Live from KDC Scholl-Presley Stadium, I'm Lauren Cavasinni, WFT Sports.
Baseball is America's pastime sport, but this pastime is becoming more and more dangerous for youth players. A 2015 Journal of Arthroscopy report found that a third of all of the ulnar collateral ligament surgeries, better known as Tommy John, are done on youth pitchers. One of those pitchers was Kyle Kowalski.
I just felt like a pop, and then it was just shot all the way through down to my fingers.
He was a freshman in high school when he tore his UCL.
And the last game, I was pitching, and just one pitch, I tore it. But since it was the last game of the season, I just thought it would get better. And then through the winter, I couldn't really throw.
He knew something wasn't right, and he ended up having to get Tommy John surgery. This is more common than you think in youth sports, especially now that children are playing on multiple teams year-round. This constant wear and tear eventually catches up to them.
If you play year-round baseball, right, and you're pitching year-round, your body never has a chance to rest. And as a young athlete, that's when your body's rebuilding. You know, when you sleep, that's when your body rebuilds. It's not when you're, out here working out. That's when you're breaking things down. You get stronger with the mixture.
Dr. Paul Gardner is a chiropractor who works on professional athletes and a father who coaches his son's Little League baseball team. Gardner's son told his dad that his elbow was sore, and after having an MRI done, they found out he almost tore his growth plate, which could have resulted in him needing Tommy John surgery.
That is the ulnar collateral ligament, and they have growth plates that attach there. So they call it, it's actually called Little Leaguer's elbow. So, and it's a big deal because if they keep pitching on it, they're pulling it further and further away for damage in the future.
Florida High School Athletic Association changed the way teams keep track of pitch count and rest time. The pitch count and rest period is based off an athlete's age and number of pitches they throw. Even though the FHSAA has a pitch count policy, not all leagues do. In the Babe Ruth League that Gardner's son plays in, the pitch count is based off of how many innings a pitcher is throwing. The number of pitches thrown determines how many days the athlete must rest. However, many coaches are not keeping the correct pitch count. They are only recording pitches thrown during a game, not the ones thrown during warm-ups or in the bullpen. Modus Global is a company that is trying to change that with a mobile device app that connects to a sensored arm sleeve.
It can track everything from arm speed, arm slot, and external shoulder rotation, which are all performance metrics, as well as a health metric where we actually measure the Newton meters of stress on any player's arm as they start to throw.
This app and sensor will let the pitchers know when their arm is ready to throw in a game again.
We have the studies that are going on with youth teams right now. Like I said, we have a couple 14U teams out in the Midwest that are testing, and they're testing strictly on a health score, not a performance metric, but just seeing how much stress their players are putting on their arm.
Even though the technology is here, there's still an issue with coaches communicating to one another to make sure they're protecting their players. The pain these athletes are feeling is not something to take lightly. Technology like Modus Global can change the way youth pitchers are trained and rested, but everyone has to be willing to follow the training procedures. Lauren Cavasinni, WUFT Sports. The number 2 Florida Gators softball team secured their first SEC sweep of the season in their SEC opening weekend against the number 23 Kentucky Wildcats. The Gators scored early on against the Wildcats on Sunday. In the bottom of the first inning, freshman Hannah Adams pulled off a leadoff walk to start the base running for the Gators. Next, senior Nicole DeWitt hit a sacrifice bunt to move Adams to second, and later in that inning, freshman Jordan Matthews stepped up to the plate and singled to left field, scoring Adams from second. In the top of the second inning, Kentucky senior Brooklyn Hines hit a bomb to left field, but junior Amanda Lorenz made an incredible catch over the left field wall to get Hines out.
It was really, really cool. I think that was more exciting for me than any home run I've hit or anything.
Junior Kelly Barnhill pitched a complete game against Kentucky. She struck out 9 batters, walked 1, and only allowed 4 hits. But she doesn't take all the credit for the win. She says both sides of the game helped her out.
They were just working really hard behind me today, and we started early and got some runs, and when we do that, it's always a great game.
The Gators put up more runs in the bottom of the third inning. After 2 strikeouts to start things off, the bats got hot once DeWitt hit a double to center field. Then Lorenz hit a 2-run home run that was hit so hard it reached the scoreboard in center field. The next 3 innings were slow for both Kentucky and Florida, but in the bottom of the 6th inning, things took a turn in the Gators' favor once again. Senior Janelle Wheaton held her ground in the batter's box and forced a walk, and then freshman Haven Sampson stepped in to pinch run. Up next, senior Alicia Ocasio hit a sacrifice bunt to move Sampson, and after that, freshman Danielle Romanello pinch hit for the Gators and hit a single to center, advancing Sampson to third. Head coach Tim Walton called for junior Sofia Reynoso to hit a squeeze bunt, and she executed it perfectly, scoring Sampson from third. And Walton had this to say about spunky shortstop Reynoso after the game.
When she plays with a little bit of confidence, she's going to be pretty special for us all the time.
The final score of today's game was 4-0, and the Gators continue SEC play next weekend as they travel to Athens to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Lauren Cavasinni, WUFT Sports.